Good afternoon everybody. Sorry for no video last week, but my kids have found a particularly vicious bug, so I've been out of action for a week. So as you can see, the mustard is in full bloom and you can just about make out those sheep behind me, but they're certainly enjoying a grazing. We have 170 have arrived and tucking into the cover crop, so I propose I'll hop over the electric fence and give you a little shot of how it's going. It's the 9th of October and I don't know if you can hear it, but it's actually buzzing quite nicely in here and down there. Plenty of wasps going around. Quite pleased with this. In the last couple of days, quite a lot of thistles here, but I've noticed a real explosion in the growth of the vetch. And here we have it. This, the vetch here, and again here. It's a very interesting plant. It seems to take a long time to get established, and then once it gets past a certain phase, it really puts on some quite impressive effort. It doesn't respond well to being grazed. Of course, the reason we're so excited about it is because it's our legume in this mix. But once you get it established, it does become quite an impressive plant. A bit like the, to be fair, it has establishment characteristics not dissimilar to, not a massive root, not dissimilar from, but there you go, see, it's got quite a ground hugging profile, but there, it's still going to be a good 50 centimeters in length. It's got a very similar growth characteristic to clover, in the fact that clover sits there doing nothing, and then suddenly when conditions are right it just shoots away. So I want to just show you this down the edge of this field. I was walking over here to show you clover, but yes, welcome to the world of sheep. And this is what I was going to show you, this lovely stand of clover just on the edge of my electric fence. But look at what the sheep think of it. This stand of clover extended all the way to here is almost as if someone's been through with a lawnmower. But that isn't lawnmower, that is our woolly friends. So it used to look like that, it now looks like this. Obviously the clover tastes good, but that's what I would expect, that in a diverse mix like this, the sheep go through and pick out the plants that they want, rather than us telling them they've got to eat ryegrass. That is the first thing the sheep eat. They go straight for the vetch, it's their favourite food. We've asked the shepherd to aim for approximately 30% wastage. I don't mind the stalks being stripped off. A bit like this one here, it's lost all of its leaf, it's snapped off, there's nothing else left to the bottom. Or this guy here, where they take all the leaves off and they just leave it behind. So there will be a fair amount of wastage. In fact, you can see them all resting under the hedge enjoying an afternoon rest. And the reason for leaving so much behind is because I want soil cover through the winter. Of course, the frost will kill off the mustard, and so you get these sort of dry stalks, which I'll have shown you a lot earlier in the year, and they're not the greatest way of shielding the soil through the winter. I would prefer to have a bigger leaf. That's why there is an inclusion of both rape and tillage radish in this mix to give a bit more winter cover. With quite a few of those, you can get secondary regrowth, so they're better able to cope with grazing. But overall, really pleased with this. This starts with our grazing program now is underway, and we will push on with these animals rotating across the farm through the winter months. We've also done seed cleaning this week, in line with the practices of overwinter cover crops and then low input spring wheat, we are taking on dramatically less winter wheat. I tried to buy some fertilizer this week. The price went up £30 a tonne over the 3 days it took me to make a decision. So that's put some pressure on us really as far as conventional cropping goes. And I think now at over £600 a tonne, I think I'm really actively considering the possibility of not buying any N, waiting for the winter to go and chancing my arm that I can access some in the spring as the gas price goes down. But obviously that is a serious gamble. Some of my landowners might not appreciate that. So that's just something that's unresolved. Going back to the seed cleaning, we had some Lennox cleaned. It is for our flexi wheat slot. So that's now in store. We've got some winter bean seed arriving. Between the flexi wheat and the winter beans, that is the extent of our winter cropping schedule. If we were drilling into something like this, it would definitely be a job for the moor. But most of the winter drilling, we've just left the stubbles, a couple of stubble rakes, and it'll be straight in with the Claydon. So that's the plan going forward. So one of the conversations I've had this week with my agronomist relates to measuring the GAI, a green area index of my cover crops, in order to figure out just how much nitrogen might be available for the subsequent crop. So I've got my famous square and I'm going to throw it down here, and I'm just going to harvest all of the green material and then work out the green area index of the cover crop from there. Here goes. So as it turns out, this is quite tricky, but I've managed to get my quarter square embedded at ground level. So what I'll do now is harvest all of this into a bag and then weigh it. So post harvesting, that's what the square looks like, and the bag is full of green material, so we'll go off and get that weighed.
According to the AHDB Nutrient Guide, Green Area Index, or GAI, can be measured by cutting all the crop from our 1 metre square area, measuring the fresh weight in kilos and multiplying the weight by 0.8. So, using my quarter metre square, it generated 745 grams of fresh material, so a full metre square would generate 2.98 kilos. Multiplied by the 0.8 gives a GAI of 2.3. Each GAI is equivalent to 50 kilos of nitrogen per hectare. So our GAI of 2.38 equates to 120 kilos of nitrogen per hectare. Assuming a subsequent spring wheat with a soil nitrogen supply of 2, we would require 150 kilos of nitrogen per hectare. Potentially, our cover crop is close to providing all the nitrogen requirements of the subsequent crop. The question is if that N will be available to the cash crop.
So interesting, they're in and they're enjoying themselves, enjoying the sunshine, and more to follow.